whatever your pleasure happens to be. All right, let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll get rolling.
Right.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You need to make the put on the screen.
I was just thinking, well, make it a default first slide in case we need it. Okay, so I know we're here to celebrate all the accomplishments, and there's a lot of content, so bear with us. There'll be time for Q&A at the end, so we can keep things moving and we don't get slowed down. But I'm going to turn it down a bit of a somber moment. Some of you may already be aware, but we lost a 14-year-old baseball player in Hidden Valley, the Hidden Valley Lake Monsters. And on behalf of the board, I attended the funeral last week and have been in contact with the family. So we'll talk about long-term things we need to think about as a community, because we've lost some momentum behind leadership in baseball. We don't have near as many kids. And after going through the last couple of weeks, it just makes you realize, like, those are the things that are important. We got to keep these kids busy. So what I'd like to do is just have everybody bow their heads for a second and say a quick prayer for Nathan and his family and all of his teammates and all of his friends. It was a very difficult couple of weeks. All right. Thank you. Amen, everybody. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We like to do introductions, but that would take us too long tonight. But what I would like to do is, if you are new to the community, never been to a board meeting, never been to an annual meeting, would you be kind enough just to stand up real quick and introduce yourself so we can put names with faces, and then I'll get rolling. All right. Just quick names and lot number, if you would. The lot number is just for the recording. If we've got to follow up with anybody, we've got a name and a lot number. So you want to start in the front row and then work back?
I don't know the lot number. It's
Okay.
On Heidi Haven, 1301.
Great. Welcome, Scott. Thank you.
And Rick Rosenberger, Scott's neighbor.
All right.
The 1311 Heidi Haven.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. There you go.
Ralph and Baron Shaw, 1071.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. What do you got here? Anybody wants to go, just go. Ted?
Yeah, Ted Kimberly. I don't know about either. We're on Bow Vista.
Gregory Depper, 2158.
All right. Welcome. Welcome.
Stevie Shoe and finally on Alpine Drive here.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you so much. All right. I am going to do a bit of a modified state of the valley. I don't have a big script written. We have a lot of other content, and it's about all the accomplishments. We will probably via listserv and via echoes, because we'll have a much bigger crowd reading the echoes and listserv than we have tonight. But thank you for being here. I'm going to just give you a sense of where the board thinks we're headed, and I'm going to throw some numbers out and some ideas out for everybody to think about, because I think we're heading to a tipping point in the community. I've had multiple people comment about the balance sheet. The reality is our expenses are continuing to go up, and we're trying to maintain a lot. Folks still want more, but we've got some very difficult decisions to make. And the thing we talked about as a board tonight in the executive meeting, it is probably time during the planning process for next year's budget that we take another step in planning, highlight the key areas where we see gaps, where our funds are just not there to meet everybody's standards so everybody understands it. And I don't want to overprescribe how the board's going to approach us with finance, but getting everybody's input via survey. Not everybody looks at things the same way. Some people want better roads, some people want something else, but we're going to get to better planning around what is the gap in reserves, because we can't do everything under the current inflation environment, and even to an extent before that maybe some of you would want. So people always say, well, do we get to vote on it? So don't think about it as a vote. Think about input, so we've got a better understanding of what people want. We talked about as a community in the executive meeting, like, we don't have tons of data on all of you. We don't have demographics other than a census data. We recognize we've got various ages from A to Z. We got various incomes. So what makes sense for somebody here doesn't make sense for somebody here. And we've got to find the middle. But we clearly have gaps long term that we're going to have to solve for. So that's kind of the tone of what I wanted to share. So so I won't get into all the accomplishments. But for those of you that are new, or maybe those of you that need to be reminded with all of us, 100% of every dollar we spend comes through dues. I still will run into people on occasion and say, why aren't the roads better? Or why isn't this better? And they don't even understand that that's all gets funded out of dues. We don't have tax coming in. So we go through a very exhaustive line by line budget. And with the inflation pressures that we've seen, it's going to get harder, not easier. So let me give you a little bit more of the backdrop behind inflation. Trying to maintain what we have, getting good labor, both from a volunteer standpoint and from an employee standpoint, it's not getting any easier. All of you guys know it. If you're trying to get somebody to come work in your house, good luck getting them there soon. It's not any different. It's not any different for us. So making sure people are available to fill up the holes is difficult, and that really is both for paid employees and volunteers. And I mentioned the baseball thing just as a simple example. At one point in time in the early 2000s, probably as far as when Scott Daniels was here, we had over 175 kids playing baseball here that we could impact their lives. We probably don't have 50 kids now. Sad, especially after attending a funeral when, like if we didn't do anything, we take care of the kids, right? We got a booming soccer program. We used to play just in the fall. It's now spring and fall. So we've got a challenge. Somebody said to me, well, if you rebuild the baseball program, what's it take? It takes a leader. Nobody's raised their hand and wants to run the league. And it's a ton of work, but it's the most gratifying work. For those of you that are parents and grandparents know, like that's what matters. So we've got work to do. I've had people say recently, what about a girls softball program? Probably shame on us if we didn't look at both. So that's just an example where things kind of fall off that we haven't focused on, and it's an issue of labor. It's a volunteer that's willing to step in and run a baseball program. So that's just one example. The other thing I want to share is that in general, and Pat said this perfectly in our executive meeting, we all get used to what we get used to, right? And standards. Who's irritated by the way the dam's been cut, right? Now, for 50, I don't know how many weeks a year, David, where's David at? How many weeks a year do we cut the lawn, cut the grass? Yeah. So in those 22 weeks, we don't normally get compliments. It's just, right? It's expected. We've heard from plenty of people. Anybody here part of the Facebook team that wanted to talk about grass tonight? We get it. It's been worked on. The company's been bought out. It's got all new leadership, and Dave is working his tail off to try to get back to the standard that everybody's accustomed to. And that's the stuff when it's all going well, we all kind of take for granted. So another example. The other thing that I would highlight are like 4 different examples. There's also a Facebook string out there about, oh my God, you guys are getting rid of employee benefits. What are you thinking? And if you read through it, some of them are very tactful and some of them aren't. That's social media, right? We've been working on it for multiple years. And just so everybody knows, $179,000 is what we're faced with this year, up from up $56,000 from the year prior, or 45% increase. That number just doesn't get fixed, right? And everybody that's working and dealing with healthcare costs knows that's a challenge. There is no interest in anybody sitting here, and I would guess anybody sitting there as a resident, David, to not take care of employees, but something's got to give. And when we sit there and we get involved with what do you want, here's what it costs, we're gonna have to go through some trade-offs. Can we continue to do it the way we've always done it? Are we better off having them get their own private insurance? We provide a tax-free allowance. Last year we funded the increase and it hurt. It caused a line item change on something else. It's a big issue. But if you happen to talk to anybody that's involved in the Facebook piece, we've got a lot of work to do. And it's going to be a tough one, and we're going to have to make some tough decisions. But hopefully, all of you will input via survey of what our trade-offs across the valley are going to be. And to give you a sense for that, when you talk about a 45% increase in almost 60 grand, $40 a year in a dues increase gets us 80 grand. So, but what if you have 5 or 6 of those where you're kind of running a deficit because costs have gotten increased? At the end of the day, do people want to maintain the standards and protect those programs? Do they want to cut back? Do they want to do it differently? We try to make the best decisions possible, but it's based on the information we have. Dave and his team is working right now with the employees. We should know who has other insurance options, whether it's your spouse or partner, whether you'd like to buy it in the open market because it'd be advantageous. It's not going to be easy, but we have no desire to make it difficult. Employee retention is everything. We don't have a huge team. They do an awesome job, but we've got work to do, and we need your input on where we're going to spend money that, in a lot of cases, based on this year, we don't have. Okay, let's talk about roads for a second. What's probably been lost is in a desire to not have to repave as much. We've done a lot more preventative maintenance, crack filling, patching. And so we've actually made great progress with the task force and Dave on tackling how do we make them last longer, because if we go to paving everything, that price has gone up. Would anybody have an idea that in today's environment, at a cost of $120,000 to $130,000 on average for 4.3 miles of Alpine, that's a $560,000 bill. So I'm not trying to be up here and like spoil everybody's party tonight, but I want to be really candid with the board. These are things we're thinking about, and we're going to have to pick our solutions. We've got a new member coming to finance that's looked at the balance sheet. We agree there's challenges there we haven't been faced with before, but I don't think everybody always understands, and that's on us to communicate. These are the decisions we got to think about, and that's just Alpine. But I also recognize that when you see patched roads and crack filling, it's good for the roads, but it's not aesthetically look like they're in great shape, right? It almost kind of makes them look worse, even though we're making progress. But that's being done so that we can get our way towards less frequent overall paving. Fiber optics will be a big deal. We're making progress. We're well aware where we're not making progress. It's a daily focus for David and his team. It's a guess week to week where folks are going to be. We've got a plan. We have big meetings, top to top with the people that can make a difference, but it doesn't mean it always gets executed that way. So we ask for your patience. Those of you that are here for the sewer, it was the worst thing ever, but it was certainly worth it in the end. And I think fiber optics will be the same, but we're going to continue to need your patience. And where your yard has not been taken care of, we certainly apologize. We'll keep working on that. The last thing I would share that not everybody sees too is that when we have 2 new board members, it's a lot of work onboarding. They come in with new ideas. They've got things to learn. We learn from them. They learn from us. But it's major work transitioning. So this year we will go through that potentially, depending on who wins, and we'll announce that tonight. But that's always a lot of work that kind of goes on behind the scenes. And the beauty is not everybody agrees. And the difficult part is we just have to spend the time till we get to a point where we agree on what works for the community and what you guys are asking for. So that's a little bit longer. Can anybody give me a reaction if you had learning with those 3 or 4 financial examples? Was there, like, raise your hand if you learned stuff or you didn't realize things cost as much as they did, and maybe not everybody wants to raise their hand, but I'll assume that's 50%. No, so we'll continue to work on that because they're difficult decisions, and I don't think we can make them by ourselves. You got a household income that's maybe 40 grand, and increases look very different versus the one that maybe $200,000. But we got to try to keep everybody happy, and that's the beauty of Hidden Valley, but it's also the challenge. Question, quick.
Yes, Scott. Bill Heights, lot 2730. I just wanted to say that when inflation occurs, and let's face it, it's not good right now. We all realize that the cost, everything goes up. It's pretty elementary. Normally, when costs go up and they have inflation, people get pay raises and they end up paying more taxes. That doesn't work with our dues. So I'm wondering if we should just bite the bullet and say, maybe we should look at that, because that's where our taxes are, is paying our dues.
Yep.
And another thing regarding the roads, the reality of this community is the land shifts. And when land shifts, the roads crack. There's spots, and I'm sure you guys are well aware of this, but maybe there are some people that aren't. But there are spots where the road slips a lot more than other places.
Yep.
And I think it would really be good if we could reinforce those places, those spots, so they don't keep collapsing like that. And so that even if roads aren't perfectly smooth and devoid of cracks, at least it won't be a roller coaster ride when you try to go someplace.
Okay, Rich, next slide. Okay, anybody would like to know who won the 2 board slots? I guess so, right? I have. Anybody remember Johnny Carson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Arnak? I can't finish the rest of it. I always thought that was kind of cool. All right, so let me open this up and then Rick can control the slide. Thank you for everybody that voted. We certainly had a lot that didn't, but we certainly appreciate those that did. Okay. Wow. Rich, go ahead, and I'll talk us through this. So the top vote getter in one of the board slots will go to Mr. Starks at 290 votes. And the second highest vote count was Jeff Pule at 259 votes. And I'm super proud of Grant Smiley at 200 votes, being new to the community. And Grant, what I will share with you, we have a lot of things we need to get done. I thought you were very impressive in candidate night with the other 2. Like, we thought everybody's going to win in this. But please come work with us. Absolutely. We'll find a spot, and everybody will know more next time around what you're capable of. We probably don't do a good enough job in honesty of recognize when people step out and say, I'm going to run, and they go through candidates night and all that scrutiny. We should be putting the quality people to work. So please join us. We'll find something that you'll love to do, and you'll get more done. You'll have more fun, and you'll have stuff for your grandkids that you would never get being on the board. So we'll carve something out. So Bob and Jeff, guys, please stand up, and congratulations. And those of you know Bob, he's back for more. Don't ask me why, but he's back for more. Yeah, so I didn't get the total, but let me do some really quick math. 246, 749. Is that right? That's way higher than I thought, so I'm not quite sure I understand that.
Yeah. 102 ballots were received. Not all of those were eligible. Oh, okay.
Okay, so can you give me the real math then, so we're crystal clear? So Bob starts at 290. What does that mean? Okay, I think that's the way we stated it, right?
You know, because when you send.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got it.
For sure.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for keeping me straight. Anyway, congratulations. And we had an executive meeting tonight, and I'll just say this really quick. We're aiming for Tuesday night, if you could check your calendars, to meet as a group, talk about everybody's interests, talk about officers' positions, and try not to miss a beat and keep moving. So Jeff was at the meeting, so he's aware of Tuesday. Bob, if you can let us know about Tuesday night, we'll get that date set and get to work on officers and setting the goals for next year. Okay? All right. Mr. Fuel, right?
Yes.
All yours. Thank you.
Okay. Treasury report. Cash flow, February 28th. 2023 is $601,470. And the cash position March 31st, 2023 ended up at $548,441. And as usual, everything's rounded off to the nearest dollars, and the typical things that come out that with the auditing, the reserves are all information that comes out each month. Next slide. Okay. One thing I try to keep you updated a little bit on is how we are doing on the fee collections. Basically, the mid 2021 is when the PA office took over this again. This way it actually saves about 40% in commissions by what they used. What I did a little bit different this time is I actually broke it down though. And Brenda Daniels, thank you. She keeps track of this, and she actually communicates with the people that are late. And it's really a compassionate type communication, and you'd be surprised how much people will do the best to pay and get on different payments. Okay. It's a lot different than having a collection company call you.
Yep.
Okay. So, but you can see the difference. Sometimes the actual dues, even though in the past we had the total outstanding, but you can see in the middle what the different late fees are. Okay. Now, a couple of times you look at that and you say, if somebody does go to a foreclosure or whatever, that figure on the right there actually allows us to really even recoup the total fees too of it. Okay. But a lot of times as we work with people that are paying, very few people actually pay, all their fees too. It's more of an incentive method. So we are very compassionate to everybody here in the Valley and try to help them the best they can. And it's really important right now at this time. All right. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Secretary.
Thank you, Secretary.
Now, before I get into the meat of my report, I want to apologize because I keep looking at my phone, which I always think is a no-no at these. But as we speak, my daughter is in labor at Good Samaritan. I expect that later this evening or tomorrow morning, I will have a new granddaughter. So I am very excited about that.
She brought that up in executive session an hour and a half ago. We're like, get the hell out of here. And she says, classic Beth, I am not going anywhere. We're going to the meeting.
That's right. Let's get the show on the road.
So, awesome. Thank you.
What I would like to do is ask for a motion to approve the March 2023 minutes. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge Felicia, who manages to make magic out of the mush that comes to her via the recordings. She makes them look good, and by extension makes us look good every month. So, Alicia, thank you so much for all your hard work. Could I have a motion to approve the March 2023 minutes?
Oh, first, it's
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns from anyone here? Okay. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you. The minutes have been approved. And also, I'm going to give you a brief bylaws update, which is I don't have a bylaws update. Apparently, our revised bylaws have gone to our attorney to die. I did see him tonight and had the pleasure of harassing him in person over where they are rather than just sending him nasty rants via email. So the board has graciously allowed me to continue working on the bylaws after I leave the board. And so you have not seen the back of me yet because I expect to be coming in support of the various committee chairs as they present their minutes for their bylaws for a first and second reading.
Can I tell one more fun story about you?
It depends.
So Jared Eubank shows up. We have no idea why he's there. But there's like 5 board members and Dave Whisper that all tighten up like, what did we do? Come to find out, he was just there to help us and support Well, who do you think goes after him first? Like, where's my revised bylaws? So once he like recovered from that,
Yes.
pretty good.
You will notice though that I backed off after that
You did,
question
you
because
did.
he had a crutch.
Yeah.
And he was sitting 2
A
feet
real
from me. A real crutch. And I gauged my chances of escaping unscathed if I kept pushing. So I made my point on that.
All right, thank you. So now into the fun. So this is where we get to sit back and watch all the people and their committees and the volunteers that just did an enormous amount of work. I'm going to warn you, we're going to move quick. We're trying to ask for what's that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll do the golf course before that, but we're going to ask everybody to keep it moving. We got a lot of content. We have 100 slides, and I'm going to. It's not that bad. Some of it I just right through it. It's a good picture. Go, but there's a lot of content, and it's for you guys that took the time to come. And I think, despite the challenges of the future that we're going to face, we'll face them together. But the amount of work that gets done around here, I think you'll be amazed. Every year, this is the best year for us because we get to put all the slides up and say, we got a few things done. So that's good. So let's talk golf course first. And I'm going to get out of here so I don't have to look back at this. This pretty tight. Okay. So this is not in the slides, but anybody realize that we bought the golf course for a little bit over $1 million? It's probably worth $2 million now. We should probably get that updated so that we can get that down on paper. But those are the folks that worked on that years ago. Pretty brilliant move. So thank you. We have outstanding member fees of 182 grand, trail fees of about 7. We have 9 new memberships. So we make some progress, and I'm going to address the membership piece. Cash on hand. This is a bit of a busy chart. And what I want to highlight is if you take a look at the numbers at the bottom, this yellowish orange color is 2023. We'll always have more cash in the front half of the year as dues are coming in. The back half of the year, it starts to wane a little bit because dues have been paid, expenses have been paid. We have more expenses and revenue coming in, so that's pretty obvious. The other thing we've talked about before for those folks that haven't been here is because we spent a considerable amount of money on Cart Pass, the whole capital improvement, we got to restock. So our cash level is not where we want to have it long term. It's got to get built back up, and then probably the next major opportunity at the golf course is figuring out how to fix an antiquated irrigation system. You have a question back there?
No, I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. Okay. So great progress at the golf course. Challenges ahead. Put irrigation at the golf course on that line item of decisions we need to make long term. You got to deliver for the membership. The cart paths have gone over well, but there's more that needs to be done in that facility. Good, Rich. Here's the piece to kind of keep an eye on. We talked the last couple of years about growing membership, and here's the short version of the story. A lot of interest and activity during COVID. Wasn't a lot of stuff to do. Let's go get outside, right?
Yep.
Golf course memberships, pretty cheap considering the other options. Let's go do that. Now you talk about retention, and the numbers have dropped off. So we're back to some of the historical. I hate to say this, Dave Hafner and the rest of the golf guys will kill me, but we're kind of back down to some more of the historical lows, and we got to continue to focus on that. Is retaining membership and building new members. When we're sitting there at 270, 280, it's a much easier business to run. Okay.
Is that what the target amount should be?
So yeah. Ideally, when we got to 280, we were sitting good, right? So one of the things that we'll be talking about with finance is that, we set a budget and work it. But when you have that massive of a change, we need to go back and take a look at the budgets because the revenue is going to be different and figure out what to do. I worry more about ongoing recruitment. When I listen to the folks that are at the golf course and touch the golf course, there's still more we need to be doing to go after new membership. It's a great value. It's a great facility. It's not perfect, but our outbound approach to membership can probably increase. Okay.
Yeah, and Scott, can I add something?
Yes, sure.
Some of you may remember Pat Sullivan, who had managed the golf course at the time of we purchased it, and then for some time after. He always said the data show that 300 memberships was the sweet spot there, just in terms of the carts we have, the square footage of the clubhouse, that was always the goal. and that over 300 might prove to be a challenge. I don't think we've hit 300, and I don't think he hit 300, but that is a number that we continue to strive for.
Did I see one more hand? Yes, please. Go
You
ahead.
know, I was one of the new ones, so.
Nice.
Forgive me.
Thank you.
But I know of at least one neighbor, maybe two,
Okay.
who won't use the golf course.
Right.
I don't know why.
Yep.
But they are going to, is it Sugar Ridge or whatever? it is?
Yep.
Why? Do you know why?
You could spend
Does
days.
anyone
We
know?
could spend days on that. Yeah, one of the things I cringe at versus Facebook overall, and it's not being nice, but when you see people sharing their social life, which is what about Facebook is, and they're not playing golf here, it just kind of hits you in the face of like, we got a lot more to do. There's lots of different reasons.
There are big reasons. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, because if you're not a member, you can't play in the morning here.
Yeah.
You can play in the morning, sure. That would probably be one of them.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. There's a lot of reasons like that of balancing what really is a semi-private golf course owned by Hidden Valley with what the needs of a private member, what they expect, and those that come to play fee golf. I don't think we've mastered that yet.
And I see where the two high schools are,
Ted, thank you for that. That's a big one.
the two high schools are now, what, playing tournaments there?
Yep.
So should we get a contract with the schools or something, or how'd that work?
No, like for the health of the game, you want young kids here,
Right?
right? They come back, they bring their families.
Have we always done that?
Not always, right?
Right?
I think having both East Central and Lawrenceburg is relatively new because the facility that East Central played their tournaments at, matches and tournaments, that golf course closed. So then you start, and I don't go too far on this, but great question. Then you think about, well, what happened to all those members that don't have a golf course? And so there's been targeting done on that membership, but it's just a constant marketing challenge that I don't think will ever go away. I know there's a few other golf members here. Anything else you guys want to add about reality of what you see as a member? Anybody want to add anything?
I
Please.
know one drawback is, and I don't own a golf cart yet, but I will.
Okay.
But you can't use your own golf cart without paying a golf cart fee.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to generate revenue.
Right.
Even negative. Those that own golf carts and
Okay.
play on the course. Well, why would I use my own golf cart and also then pay a fee? I would go ahead and use your golf cart if I got to pay a fee.
Okay.
So why own a golf cart?
Okay. I don't have a golf cart. I don't play golf much anymore, so I don't have that answer, but it's good feedback. Yeah. Okay. All right. Rounds played. A lot of people still playing golf, right? That's key. Is everybody that comes out and plays golf, aside from the fees, spends money at the snack shop, can spend money in the pro shop. And so if the number of rounds were dropping off significantly, that'd be a leading indicator. But people are playing golf. We just have to continue to work on membership and continue to work on the facility so you don't want to leave and you invite friends to come. And Ted, to your point, the most difficult conversation I've seen in my time here in the golf course is how do you keep members happy and how do you keep fee golf happy? So we'll need to continue to work on that. I don't think we've got that solved yet. Okay, next. All right, Mr. Wisman, this is where it really gets fun. This guy's got a ton of stuff. Before I walk away, if you don't do it up front, please do it at the end. What we ask David to do day in and day out is a lot. And he does it with grace and calmness. Don't ask him about the grass in his dam because that'll raise his blood pressure. But we are very, very fortunate. Those of you that have been around and know Dave, you're not going to find a nicer, hardworking guy that handles everything we throw at him. So, Dave, thank you.
Don't throw anything at me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, Jeff is opening the bids up. That was something I had to sandwich in here. We had bids for our large unit over at the POA building. We were told a couple years ago that the unit was dying. We needed to replace it, and since then we had to fix the air compressor part of it one time, and then the heat part went out this last winter. So it's long overdue. We've got our usefulness out of it. Had a very good response from contractors to do the work, including the contractor that takes care of the unit as well. I wanted to introduce some people. Where's Steve?
He left. He knew you could do that.
You want to introduce you and Kyle?
Yeah, my name is Heather. I'm the general manager. Kyle's in here. He's your bartender today. He does a bunch of maintenance stuff down here.
Of course, everybody knows Steve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Heather. They do a great job, and they're I also was surprised to know we have a lot of our employees here today. So all the full-time employees, if you could stand up and just say howdy to you. Jason and John were part of the group that set everything up here with Steve's crew today. So, and they usually set up the meetings and things like that. We also have part-time people who are here. Those people would stand up. Really proud of our crew and proud of what they can do. Are we all opened up there?
Yeah.
So this will be the official business part of it. Oh, thank you for closing that first. Yeah. I trusted Jeff with a knife. That's kind of something. Okay, so we have and what we'll do, we will compile all this information, give it to the board, and they will make a decision on who we go with. We have because a lot of times we get a lot of information on these things. Some of it is the apples that we're looking for. Some are some oranges and grapefruits and peaches and whatever kind of fruits. But anyway, this is from Crane Heating and Air Conditioning at a cost of $24,880. Are these in alphabetical order? No, they are not. Okay, then we have Isidore. And of course, I don't have my glasses. $16,275.
Hang on with that.
Wait till you hear the rest. I thought that was your donation.
In the right direction.
Hill Air, Heating and Air, 33,992.
He didn't want to go. 33,000.
Show up.
That's I don't want the contract. Who knows?
This is from, I think it's pronounced Precast Piping Corporation. It's always scary when they don't have the price prominently displayed. Oh, $21,300. Okay, Osterwich Company. And that is $25,627. I got helpers. Yeah, Vanna. Yeah. Better get the Vanna than me, huh? Genesis, and they are at $21,945.
So guess what? They had an envelope in an envelope.
Uh-oh.
They don't want to go.
This is from Baker, Bauer, and Fitch. $21,250. And from Gary, $27,657. As I said, we'll do a compilation of these and get with the board for final decisions. Thank you. Appreciate it.
16.
And that has to happen because we had bids that were well over $10,000. So when I went out to try to get these units, it was, it's going to be this much money. So then we have to go through this process. So last couple of weeks have been a struggle with our mowing contractor, no doubt. They have new management, and that management is and all new employees. So I don't think any of these people have done any of the work here in the past. So we are on them. I'm on them every day, several times a day, and I've even discussed there. I had a regional manager here the other day doing some of the work himself. So we're pushing hard. It's not acceptable. Even a lot of the mowing that's been done is not acceptable. The maintenance crew's been out to get pictures, give me feedback on what we missed, things like that. So it'll either be done properly or we'll find some other contractor. Fiber optics. A lot of questions on the fiber optics. So I asked our contacts there. We have a meeting with them on Tuesday. It's pretty much an all-day meeting. We'll go around to some of the sites. I just found that out a little while ago. Rich works a lot with with these groups, trying to get your yards fixed and that kind of thing. I really appreciate him picking up some of the slack on there, because it's a lot more work on our end than I anticipated, at least. You know, I figure, you know, a large company comes in and they just take care of it. So anyway, they've split these up into packets, they call them. So there are certain areas that haven't seen anything yet, and that's in a certain packet of that area. Other areas were the first ones, say Matterhorn. I want to think maybe Tuppence were some of the first ones that we had. Those areas are pretty close to completion. You know, what she told me today was percentages complete. 2 of the areas are over 60%. One area is about 35%, and another area has not been touched yet. There's an area of HVO4, which is basically the main line that comes off of 1. That had to be done first to get to the substation off of Fairway. That's where the big box is that they connect for us. And then it all trees off of there. And I think there's another one that'll be on Matterhorn. Those things had to be done first. That's your backbone. So that's pretty much complete. If you see the truck with the trailer, that's a couple of guys in there. They look one looks like a scientist. The other one looks like maybe he's a prisoner or something, because he's got more hands. But anyway, those guys, they're doing the actual fusing things. There's no terminology for it. They're connecting the fiber together. That's a good sign to me. The idea, they told us they wanted to get to the POA office building. They'll do some testing, make sure everything's good. We'll do some, get some ideas on TV, how to connect the TV and all that. Try to have some public information for you. And then once that happens and they're satisfied to that point, it'll spread out from there. Again, if they haven't come to your yard yet, it's going to be a little bit. The early on people started in October of last year, maybe even earlier. So anyway, it's going to be a long road. We knew that part, so we're still working with that. Yes.
Is this the cable companies that will provide the fiber? Is it only Optic Fiber, or is it other cable companies?
This is only SEI Fiber. They're doing this in conjunction with REMC. SEI is Southeastern Indiana, whatever. Anyway, they are a rural phone company based in Dillsboro. They're a relatively local company, and they have provided fiber throughout the rural parts of Indiana. They are a cooperative, so when you are part of this, you're a member of that, like you will be, or you will be a member of that, like you are with REMC and VRUC and the POA. So there's some ownership on your part.
So what providers are going to be using
This is strictly internet.
Yeah.
This is strictly internet. So as far as your Comcast, Xfinity, any of those kind of companies, you could make another contract with them using the internet, or a lot of people have been using, and I don't know all of them because I'm kind of stuck on Comcast right now, but there are Hulu, Roku, there are a ton of them. So Doug has volunteered to kind of get a group of those together and have more information as we get closer to this.
I actually personally called Alpha Fiber to find out when my area would be done, and they said 2 years.
Yeah, well, Ultra Fiber's not coming here. So, like you said at the beginning, we'll cover a lot of this. Maybe at the end of the meeting, hit me up one-on-one if you got specific questions. But we're not going to get done if we keep asking a lot of questions. Not to call you too much, but there's a lot more to come. We're going to teach you a lot on how to use the new fiber versus cable versus whoever.
And basically, Alpha Fiber will only be a small part of Hidden Valley. That's Cincinnati Bell.
Yeah.
So if you've been a Cincinnati Bell customer, it'll be offered to you as well. So you would have an option there.
Yeah, Ultra Fiber's not expanding here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not expanding, no.
When you say expanding, what do you mean?
They're not spreading through like SEI Data is. All the fiber going in right now is SEI Data and RAMC, not Ultra Fiber, not Cincinnati Bell. Comcast is already here with cable everywhere. So that's where we are. So SEI Data will be an option for you. So let's hold the questions till we get to the end because we got about 15 more people who needs to get up and talk. So I'm the tech kind of guy on the board, so feel free to hit me up after.
Okay. So if we go to our maintenance team here, we've had a lot of projects over the last few years, especially last year. One of these is Willie's Docks just down here. You get a chance, go and take a look at them. They were in really bad shape. You look at them now, they've got nice concrete covers. This was not easy. It was a long process, but our team did a nice job over the winter and over the spring getting them together. They're ready for service. And again, if you could thank these guys for all the work that they've done to make that. Some of the other projects include the annual sprucing up, putting, taking care of the plantings and things like that. Let's see. Major projects such as the Sandamont Walkway, really neat thing. We've worked with neighbors there. Craig Depper, where'd you go to? Craig is into native plants, and he's a next door neighbor to this. And we found that out. We're doing some neat things in this area, and we hope to kind of expand on that. Really do some great things in conjunction with Lynn Hartman here and some of the projects, Crystal Lake. Things that we're doing too. So we also we stained a gazebo. You may not think that's exciting work, but it looks so much better when it's shining like that. I'd like to thank Future Planning for painting our security center, and that kind of spawned us, got us to want to do a little bit more painting around. So our maintenance team took care of the sports complex building painting last year. Parks and Rec had some requests. They needed a trail map. Nature Trails Task Force worked on our natural trails. How many have used the natural trails this year? Yeah, I couldn't believe how many people told me, oh yeah, we started using that. It's just great. So great job by Amy and her team with John Getz and Danner. This signs over there with QR codes on it to get you around the trails, and Rich and Jeff Dickman worked on that. Storm cleanup. This is anytime you have those crazy storms that we've had recently, this is what your maintenance team has to do. They're actually culvert pipes underneath all that debris over there. They also plow the snow after the snowstorms. There's a lot of preparedness that has to be done. The equipment has to be ready. Maintenance team has done a good job being ready for all these storms. And this is one of the things that I think we can be proud of as a community. You hear a lot of people say, well, I kind of go through there when I know the snow's in, because I know I can get from point A to point B. So, pretty proud of the guys for what they do there. A lot of them. The maintenance area, Jason and his crew used some leftover grindings from our road project last year and built this area up that protects the Civic Club garage a little bit better. Take on a lot of water, things like that. So we try to reuse whenever we can. Golf course. Now this was done by a company, but as Scott said, this was a big investment for the golf course using funds. Some of it was the PPP money from COVID, some from money that they've been putting back. The cart paths are looking better than they have in many years. So we were able to do holes 1 through 11 and 18 and actually save some money from the original estimate. The maintenance team was asked to put in a guardrail. Some of this required a buildup of the asphalt, so there was a guardrail that was needed on one of the holes, and they did a nice job, very quickly done. Also, they've replaced some posts on the rear. So a little bit about your security team. I won't go into great detail because it's a long, long story. But I'll tell you what, this is it's really been a tough nut to crack. When I was sheriff, I actually started the reserve program for the sheriff's department with Hidden Valley, and all our guys were in Dearborn County Reserve. And think about this: I was sheriff. I wasn't really thinking about what, from the Hidden Valley standpoint. I was thinking about it from the sheriff's standpoint. And I thought this would be a great way to not only help the people of Hidden Valley, but it would also help the county. We had other reserves in other areas of the county as well. And it was a pretty good program. A lot of changes over the years. That's a picture when we first started as moving from Hidden Valley Rangers to deputies in 1996. I don't know who this young guy is. Yeah. I haven't seen him for a while. But anyway, and
Photoshop.
So over the years, we had some really, really cool things. They grew and all that kind of thing. But as you know, things grow and they change. And we've had different sheriffs that have come in, and we've been supported. This sheriff is no different. He supported us from the beginning. We met with him and the board 2 years before he took office, feeling that he was probably going to take office, and he stood by us then, stood by us in the beginning. He's running across the same problem we're having. He can't find the people to do these jobs. This is a small group of people who have gone through our program here. There are probably, I haven't even counted them all, there's 30 or so that have gone to other departments. These have all gone to the sheriff's department. And it's a long history. 2 of these guys are close to retirement. So they went to us first, then they went to a 20 or more year career with the sheriff's department. So some pretty neat things, a lot of changes in cars, stuff like that. So we ran into this situation early last year. We didn't have any deputies. They had all moved on. There weren't any other candidates. The way that the program worked, we had to have, they were candidates for the sheriff's department first. They would send us people that, didn't make it, but they had, believed they could eventually work for them. We had several that would come to us or, set up an appointment for an interview. They were approved by the sheriff. We had to approve them. Before they came to us, they were hired by other police departments. And the sheriff just informed me the other day that they're down 1 with no potential candidates, and I know of 2 that are planning retirement this year. So this is, and I've heard it all over the country. Any other departments I've talked to. So this is so thanks to Jason Hoffman and Adam Boskin, who were the marshal and assistant marshal in Sunman. Jason is a resident here. They came on as our security. They have since become the marshal and assistant marshal at West Harrison. They've left Summon, gone to West Harrison. And through that, they have police powers. Now, that may sound a little easy, maybe it sounds hard on them. For us, there are a lot of moving parts in the background to that. This is the sheriff's department's territory. Anything we do with law enforcement, we need to have buy-in from the sheriff's department. So that takes a little bit of time. We initially we had security people that were here that were not, in some cases, they might have been law enforcement, but they weren't with the sheriff's department. And we had sheriff's cars. So working with the board, and safety and security, we changed some of these cars to security. And our goal here was just to take care of the security aspects. Number one, safety and security. That is 95% of what our security team does, security related things. Checking buildings, checking people who are coming through, just making sure that things were secure. So, and we didn't have that component. When we lost our deputies, we didn't have people. When Jason first came to us, he was driving his own personal car to do security rounds. We had sheriff's cars, and we didn't have authorization to drive them unless you were a sheriff's deputy. So,
Hey, Dave, we got to keep moving.
Okay.
Like, I know this is critically important, but let's make sure we stay where we're at, where we're going.
Anyway, that's where we're at. We have three rangers who are police officers in Indiana who have the police academy training. We're hoping to do more of that, and we will continue to work with the board and security. Our first choice is the deal with the sheriff's department. If we can ever get back to that, that's great. Also wanted to say something about Memorial Day. An announcement about these Memorial Day activities. If you can come, we'd like to see you there. We'll be at the 77 acres. And that's at noon on Sunday, May the 28th. May 28th up there. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Cross, all yours. Thank you. 2 minutes.
Sitting too long. Thank you, Scott. Ask you quickly how you want to handle this. You want committee business first, or
However you want to do it, I don't care.
all right,
Whichever you prefer.
we'll go through committee business
Okay,
first.
sure.
Okay. We have a couple of performance bond returns we'd like to request the board to approve. First one is lot 2527, located at 1853 Coke Circle East. Property owners Justin Kanslamar. The bond is in the amount of $500. That homeowner owes no fees, has no outstanding fines. Second, property located at lot number 1865, located at 1401 Aqua Vista. Property owners Ann Williams and John Noel. Bond amount is $2,000. Fees owed 0. Fines and fees owed also 0. We would ask the board for a motion to approve those performance bonds.
I will make that motion.
Second. We'll vote. Second the motion. And we'll vote. Oh. Yep. We're at first and a second already.
Yeah.
Everybody in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're clean. 5-0. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In addition to the property bonds, we have 2 motions for variance that we would ask the board to vote on. The first one is a motion to grant a 17-foot variance for a shed located on, it's a rear setback, located on the property of Ronald and Sally Rowland, lot 1054, that's located at 21347 Alpine. Do you want to do these individually or both?
Let's do them individually. These two,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the first one.
Okay. And the committee's reviewed plans, everybody's in approval, no concerns.
Our committee would recommend that you grant the variance.
Okay. Can I get a motion, a second, and a vote all at the same time? Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0, Pat. And go ahead with the second one, sir. Thank you.
All right, the committee would also ask the board to grant the 7-foot variance for a built-in swimming pool on the rear setback of the property of Michael and Stacy Palmer. That is lot 1553, 1554, 1555, located at 19799 Longview Drive.
Same thing, committee recommends, so.
First, Jeff, second, and vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of detail in this. You guys did a tremendous job, not only getting it to the point of approval, but also recognizing they had deadlines to hit
Yes,
for
for
contractors.
the Palmers, yes.
Yeah, so thank you guys how you tackled the whole thing. It was awesome, and I'm sure they appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you.
All right, I know you wanted to give us a little, or you wanted the committee to do a little year in review, challenges, things of this nature. Rich has prepared a few slides for us. First of all, I do want to recognize the fact that our compliance officer, Dan Kester, and our POA representative, Gina Keller, along with our board liaison, Ken, does a tremendous amount of work with our committee to help with information coming in, help us to make decisions, informed decisions that are needed, and we truly appreciate their work. In 2022, we had 3 new home starts, and as you can see, we went through about 230 approvals, some administrative, some committee. When you start to look at the months that are available, that's 12. That's almost 20 a month. We meet twice a month. So it's almost 10 a meeting average. So there's a lot of permit requests coming from the committee that we have to look at, and we've got a great crew that help get those approvals through. I think challenges is what they're asking here. Managing projects within the bylaw, certainly one of our challenges. Project approval prior to work. You know, sometimes some people have a tendency to get things started before all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But we try to work with them and make sure that their project can move forward once the paperwork is done. And that falls under the educating of the residents here as to what needs to be done. As far as moving forward, the same things that we've done. We want to continue to help the residents. We want to continue to tweak the bylaws, work with other committees, make sure the committees are all open to members who want to join or attend, and add committee members when we can. We had 1 new member that we added to our committee this year. As far as tweaking the bylaws, I would say that our largest accomplishment in 2022 was a review of the architectural bylaws, and with the help of board member Pat Hawkins, who was going to be sorely missed, we were able to get through that and get that done. And I can say proudly that our section's complete. I know there are others that still need to be done, but we're in pretty good shape in our.
Awesome. Great
That's
work.
it.
Thank you.
Thank all of you.
I got confused there for a second. It's all yours. Yeah, you're trying to keep me. Nimble. I thought I was there.
All right. I will promise I'll be brief. I have one official piece of business, and we have a new committee member we'd like to add, and it's Tom Blackstead, and he's been voted unanimously.
Awesome.
Go back one. Okay.
So we just need to vote officially.
We need to vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just
All right, that's
to
fine.
make sure. So all in favor?
Well, I'll make the motion.
Motion, a second, and vote. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Second, in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks, Tom. Secondly, real quick, I want to thank my committee for all the hard work they do. A lot of it's behind the scenes. So just thank you, everybody. We have a lot of good debates sometimes, so I appreciate it. Scott stole most of my thunder, so there's really not a lot here.
I
It's a
didn't
little,
mean to.
it's okay. It's good. It's a little repetitive from what Jeff
Got it.
what he talked about last week, and I think it's good. We just have to reinforce it. You know, the reality is inflation's tough. Let's be real. And this is just a chart. And this came up last month as well. That our dues increases have been well below inflation. And it's just a fact. It's not. It is what it is. It's math. It's data. So I don't have to belabor that. We can move to the next one. You know, we get information from other communities that are very similar to ours across the country. We're not the only community struggling with these types of things. You can see, I think it's in the 87% range. All of them are considering different ways to attack dues increases and those kind of things. So we're not alone. If you guys think we're unique, we're not unique. This is a challenge for most people. Okay, and then just some comments. We continue to look at recommended a dues or assessment increase in the July timeframe. And then again, just reinforcing, everything we do anymore costs more. So I've been on the finance committee for about 10 years now, and I will tell you that just everything costs more. We used to talk about a $200,000 road project that got a lot done, and now you're talking 550. I mean, it's just the reality of where we are. So that's it. Trying to keep it simple.
Cool. Yeah. The one thing that I do want to add on that bottom line, right? We think about dues. There's lots of ways to generate revenue depending on how we want to approach it. A one-time assessment would fix something one time. It wouldn't fix something repeating. So the thing we've asked the finance committee to look at is we look into this list of big projects and even small projects. Is it appropriate to raise dues? What percentage? Or should we be inviting on occasion assessments? I've gotten some guidance from folks that have moved back into our area from Chicago that have lived through rapid dues increases every single year to the point that it gets unmanageable. And some people will say, hey, on some of these things that we agree we should just get done, let's do a one-time assessment and be done and not deal with the compounding piece. So just understand, as you guys get more involved providing feedback and ideas, we don't have all the answers here. We've got a revenue gap.
That's right.
How we get there is to be determined. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember, I knew about area.
Absolutely.
You live in Dearborn County. Get anything from Dearborn County? Why?
We're a private organization.
I get that, but everybody uses our streets whenever that big hill.
Yeah, and we also don't pay property taxes or anything else in Dearborn County as well. So we are effectively a private organization. It's no different than what you compare it to your own house, So it's a private community.
Well, I heard everything about the sheriffs. What about fire protection?
How does you guys gotta help me out here a little bit? How's fire protection? Right. Yeah.
They're volunteers. Fire
For the
protection.
volunteer, we don't have to pay.
Right. Is that part of the
Township.
Township. Okay.
No, we're in one. Well, yes, you're right. Oh, you're right. Part is out.
So what?
Can you guys just restate that for everybody? I don't think everybody heard
good.
Bob.
Go ahead. Which one?
Just restate the combined townships.
Yeah, so most of our fire protection comes from the townships. Wright Fire Department actually covers several townships, including West Harrison and Logan Township. As a matter of fact, right now we are in a situation. I was supposed to be in a meeting tonight. The fire engine that we have that's located on State Line Road. I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time, Tom. If you don't want to hear this.
Yeah, it's still good. I just wanted to clarify the townships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the fire engine is failing, and we're in the process right now of buying a new one. The fire chief wanted to meet with us tonight, so we're working anyway. There's a lot happening.
On your list to do.
I was supposed to be at that meeting tonight. That's the reason I was going to tell you. I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah,
if I'm available.
we'll work through it. Thanks.
One more question,
I
and
have
we'll.
a question regarding recommending a dues increase for July. Is that recommended or is it happening or what?
So the answer to the question we talked this week, Jeff's on board, you guys are on board. We're going to move forward with a dues increase. We're going to grab finance, your leadership, and the board, go through the final details, make sure we understand the rationale sound, then we're going to communicate it.
Soon.
Yes, next month.
All right, so let's hold the questions till the end of the meeting,
Yeah.
because we can talk about this for hours. Long meeting, we'll get to you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, great. All right, George, all yours. Please keep us moving, sir.
Okay, welcome everybody, and hello from the Future Planning Committee. My name is George Ward, so that I live at lot 1882, and we have had a very, very busy year. Last year was very, very busy and exciting and fun. We had a lot of things going on, and most of them, I'm happy to say, are going to flow into this year also. Before I get into this year, I just want to say one of our big projects last year was the 50th anniversary celebration of Hidden Valley, and we had probably 10 to 12, that correct me if I'm wrong, different events that we conducted last year in conjunction with the Civic Club on many of them, and it went really, really well. We had 10 people working on that task force, and just couldn't have gone better. So thank you, Pat. Pat was our chair of that task force. So our approach to things in future planning is to use task forces. And the reason we do that is because task forces allow us to bring people into the process, into the work, without being a committee member. We were, in fact, a task force. You're allowed to invite the employees. You're allowed to invite people that aren't even living here in Hidden Valley. So it's a great facility. It's a great concept. And we had 3 of these task forces working last year. One of them I just mentioned, the 50th anniversary task force, which is through with their work. We had a task force last year called the Front Entrance Task Force. Dave was kind enough to show a couple of things we did. We are looking at expanding that into evaluating all the different major areas around Hidden Valley and to see how we can spruce it up, refresh these areas, hopefully for not a lot of money. The third task force is a communications task force, and we have 10 people working on that task force. That particular task force is working on things like improving echoes, improving our audio visual, improving communications with any part of within Hidden Valley. And it kind of overlaps into another area we have, and that is helping you conduct town hall meetings. We did 2 of them last year. We did one on the an introduction to the fiber optics, and we also helped host the Meet the Candidates night last year. So we did 2 last year, but we're very anxious to help different organizations conduct more town hall meetings. They are very informative and very useful. The other thing we're working on when we have time is improving the POA website. The website, if you're not aware, was a hodgepodge of ideas that grew over a period of about 20 years, and it's become pretty unusable. So we're looking at a full-blown concept here of just redesigning the whole website and make it easier to use. So those are some of the things the Communications Task Force is working on. In addition, we have some other things we're working on. Give me one more, Rich. We have been involved for over 20 years now in the documents that govern us here in Hidden Valley. The CMP, by the way, we had a fantastic success here creating a CMP, but it's not done yet. And we're going to be continuing work on that. Land use plan was another task force put together, and we now have a land use plan which helps the board plan the use of all of our neighboring property. And finally, when we can, we help various committees, board members, whatever, when there's work to be done on updating the bylaws. So those are some of the things we do with regard to documentation. We have submitted a preliminary proposal to the board to do 2 things. One of them is to help get involved with the planning, doing business planning for the golf club. We've had a lot of experience doing this, and we are in the process of writing a proposal to the board to give them some ideas about how that might be done. The golf course does not have a business plan. and needs one badly. And we are more than willing to help put that together. So those are some of the things we are doing. And we have a lot of various things we do. So there's a lot of different things to get involved in. You're more than invited to participate with us, either through a task force or through the committee work itself. So I'm not even going to ask for questions because I think I helped you catch up, right?
Nope,
Very good.
Nope, you went over your 5 minutes.
Come join us. We do a lot of good work and a lot of various variety of work in Hidden Valley. Thanks a lot. Thanks,
All righty, we'll keep this moving along. How y'all doing? My name's Ted Gimperly. I'm a 2-year resident and 3.5-year property owner, and a 2-month committee member. And this is a classic case of the new guy not being quite aware of what he was signing up for. A week ago, when Eric, who's out of town this week, said, "Hey, I need somebody to present." So, sure, I'll do that. Anyway, all right, so new business. We have some rule changes that we'd like to propose. The first one has to do with Rule 7712, and it is essentially looking at what equipment we allow on the lake. Okay, the current rule basically says what's not allowed. The problem with that is technology is constantly changing, and you know who knows what's going to come next. You know, the nuclear-powered flying kayak. Somebody gets that on the lake, and all of a sudden we're like trying to disallow it. So we're changing the wording. Next slide. Next slide. I guess what I'm doing here is the first read through, right?
Yep. Correct.
And my print's too small. So we're going to change it to say the permitted power and non-powered watercraft is all of this stuff here. We're going to identify a couple of prohibited stuff. And then with a last thing that says watercraft not mentioned as permitted is also prohibited. So we're just trying to get ahead of things appearing on the lake that weren't already approved. Thank you, sir. That wasn't already approved by the board. Okay, so that's what that is. And then obviously, as things come up and somebody wants to get something out on there, all you got to do is bring it to the board. Bring it to the committee who will say, okay, we want to allow a nuclear powered plant.
Hey, Ted, we need to do this real quick. If you go back a slide, for those that aren't used to this, we do the first reading so everybody can absorb it, think about it, ask questions. When we come back next month, there'll be a second reading. And at that point, we've incorporated any feedback. So if you're highly interested in this, I would encourage you to get a copy, read through it, and if you have questions, concerns, whatever, because we're moving pretty quick and the stuff's important, make sure you get back together with either the board or Dave Wisman or Ted. Sorry, Ted.
Sure.
And so we can make sure we get it right, because the second reading will be where we're at in final, and we'll move to approve it. Okay?
I have a question for Ted and for the rest of the board about the process. Jeff and Eric Fox and I did a rewrite of the Lakes bylaws that, as we speak, are gathering dust somewhere in Jared Eubank's office. How do you want to handle this? Because part of approving the revised bylaws would be having this language in there, and there will be a first and second reading. Or do you want to just go through the first and second reading of these as a standalone and have me work with the attorney to get those incorporated and revise the bylaws?
I'm thinking the second way now. I'm thinking your second method then means this way won't be voted on twice. Makes sense. Yeah.
Well, so part of the motivation, as I understand it, Ted, with your group is that before we get into the summer and new stuff shows up, it's a timing issue.
Yes.
So you kind of want to move it along.
Right.
So I would suggest if that's still the objective, I would probably move it along separately.
Okay, so have a second reading for this in May,
and then add it.
You know, God helping, those bylaws are still down there at the end of May. going to be very disappointed. So, okay.
Does that work? Because that's kind of what you said
Yeah,
earlier.
you're right.
Okay.
Right, thanks for reminding me.
Yep.
All right.
Hold on one second.
The next
Ted,
rule.
hold on. One quick question. Please try to save these till the end, but please go
Well, it
ahead.
sounds like you're moving pretty quick on this to get it approved, so that so basically we don't get to grow with technology, we want to limit to what we have today.
No, we don't. We just don't want to get surprised. We can absolutely grow, but we want that to be approved first.
Yeah, so if something you want comes in, then you will go to that committee with it to get approved.
So that's my question, because some of the things are there, like the hydrofoils, we have those behind our boats now. In the past, I've had a windsurfer, and now it sounds like for a catamaran, I'm thinking of a Hobie Cat sailboat, we would not be allowed to have that anymore. So, I mean,
sailboats allowed.
Oh, well, but it says catamaran. So
Catamaran's not allowed, and that is that was already in.
But is that not a small sailboat? I guess we're looking at, and we've had people with the amphibious cars and stuff like that. I mean, those are cool things to have in our parade. But I think there's
Liability issue. Big time.
I think we should give a lot more thought to what we restrict. The lake represents such a huge portion of our enjoyment and entertainment. I'm all about making sure we do it the right way.
And keep it safe, right?
And keep it safe, absolutely. But I don't think we've had any issues that I'm aware of lately. And it seems like we're really doing a lot of restrictions rather than taking things case by case. And it seems like people are already using things that are now not.
That are now being restricted.
I used to have a kite surfing board out there, years ago, and it was too heavy to carry down. I had a great time going back and forth. And now an alternative to that, as I see you have a kite board up there. That's just another version of a windsurfer. And I mean, that's the windsurfer, nothing but a small sailboat on a surfboard.
The committee reviewed those things and basically made a decision that probably for safety's sake and in the overall benefit to the community, it's better to not have that out.
And this is just the first reading, so you definitely have opportunity before the second reading. So what night is your committee
what's
meeting?
your Lakes Committee night?
Second Wednesday of the month.
Second Wednesday of the month. So we got one coming up.
Second reading, it's a done deal. Is that right?
Well, if there's more substantial commentary that comes up in the second meeting, we've missed it, we will certainly listen to that. The ideal way to do it is to address all the issues, get it revised, reread it, and be done, but that doesn't always 100% work that way.
It could turn into the second reading, actually another first reading, because it's changed substantially enough that we go, all right, this is not the second reading, this is a new first reading, and let's let it digest again and then approve it.
Okay, it just sounds like we're limiting a lot of things that people haven't had any problems with. Sure, she's all in my kite board out there. And I think they're great, they're fun entertainment.
Okay.
And I do think, if I may say,
Go ahead, Amy.
this lake is nice, and as a sailor, is when there's no one out there, it's great to have a little sunfish, or my mom has a little 14-foot Hobie that she's kind of gone off on me. For beginners, it is nice when there's no activity out there. So I think to eliminate something like that,
Well, we do have sailboat is allowed, so I don't know if there maybe we're splitting hairs with the distinction between one versus the other.
catamaran is, I think,
Sailboat.
what he's getting
Small
to.
hose.
That's the small
one.
Yeah.
So we need to
So I think
clarify.
the
We
wording
need to clarify
is just
that.
maybe just work with the wording a little bit
Right.
on, and I think that's all we would have to do. We're not coming at you.
No, yeah.
No,
Oh, yes, we are.
are.
Once again, I was not aware of what I signed up for.
Hold on
Want to keep it moving here, Scott?
Yeah, Tom, real quick, and then
Just
we'll
a
keep
very
moving.
quick question. Pat, I don't know if I misunderstood. Did you say that the bylaws had been reviewed, submitted, voted on, and they're at the lawyers?
No, they
Okay, I
have not been
misunderstood.
presented for a first reading yet. So this would be the time to add them in. But I can't tell you when they're going to come back to us for a
Sure.
first and second reading. So
And-
I understand he wants to get this done.
This revision was not included in that submission?
That is correct. This is new since Jeff
Since
and
the
Eric and I
submission.
worked on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would also ask for anybody that's interested and sees concerns, conversation, if you can't make the Lakes Committee, simplest thing to do when in doubt is call the POA office and get the email or cell phone or whatever and have your conversation. It doesn't have to be at a Lakes Committee. Like, it would not be fair that you can't attend the meeting, you don't get your issues addressed. Like, when in doubt, call the POA office about everything that goes on in the valley. It's the fastest way to get something done. Not, let me put my little plug in, it's not Facebook. Thanks.
All right, so the next one has to do with the, flotation devices, and this was originally designed to address things like the big old water trampolines that are out there. So the first reading on this change, once again, we're going with what's permitted, is water mats, water slide, water trampolines, climbing walls, loungers, rafts, standard PFDs, and tubes. Max diameter allowed is 20 feet, no more than 26 feet in any direction. And 400 square feet max size. Okay, flying tubes, flotation devices not specifically named, are not permitted. Okay? Same concept. If you got heartburn, reach out, let us know what it is that you want to put out there instead. Okay, next slide. And then once again, this is meant to get ahead of things, but as things change, bring it to us. Next slide, year in review. We've already talked a lot about the Willie's Dock. That started in the Lakes Committee. And just so you know, by choosing to do it in-house with a committee member, Adam Maurer leading it up, working with Dave's team, we did save about $50,000 instead of doing it through outside bids, which was a great move. We are also looking at, we also successfully replaced the monitoring equipment in the dam, and we completed our fish study on the main lake. Fish study on the main lake, for if you don't know, we are currently culling slot limit bass. That's bass between 8 and 13 inches, basically to get the larger bass healthier out there. So they've been doing that for the past couple of years, and we're going to continue to do that. And we're also looking to provide more cover out there. So I believe that an email was sent out, Dave, to all of the lakefront owners asking about being able to put some structure under your docks to provide cover for bait fish and so on and so forth. So if you have the ability to do that, we'd appreciate you cooperating and helping us out there. Let's see here, goals. To sum this up, we've done a lot of work over the years on the main lake. The Lakes Committee is now trying to focus a little bit on the smaller lakes. And do everything we can to get those as healthy as we can. So we're going to replace the aerators immediately, or very soon anyway, at Crystal Lake and at Kathy Lake, and looking at doing that on the remaining lakes as well. In addition to that, putting together some maintenance plans to make sure that those pumps and aerators are working like they should. We're also going to be doing some fish studies on the small lakes as well this year, so we can understand what the populations are there and what the fish, the bass sizes and whatever is there. Okay. And then Crystal Lake is kind of the poster child, the first lake that we're looking at doing all this stuff on. And we're going to look at expanding that to the other smaller lakes as well as we see success. Next. Special thanks, Adam Maurer, like I said, he used his expertise along with Dave's team to fix the Willie's docks here. Next, thanks Linda Hartman and a lot of the Crystal Lake residents, the Norrises that are here, myself, Joneses, in terms of working on fixing up what's going on there. And then extra special thanks to myself, and James Barnum, who was just recently elected in the past couple of months to the Lakes Committee. And then finally, we look to see you all this coming Sunday at 9 o'clock. We got our annual lake cleanup going on. So I believe we're putting together at the marina, the ramp there. I will be there in spirit as my grandson is First Communion on Sunday.
Nice, nice.
All right. Question here?
Yeah. Any update on like dredging and the siltation issue we have in the big lake?
That was done last year, and it's not slated to be done for several
Wasn't
more years.
completed last year.
Well, that's, there was an issue with the equipment, Dave. You'd have to speak more to what happened with the rest of that. The dredging, why the dredging wasn't completed.
We did all of it that we had scheduled to do.
Well, there was an issue with the equipment on the smaller lakes.
Yeah, they had trouble getting trouble with Crystal Lake.
So since it's
Yeah.
it's an ongoing issue.
But part of the issue with the silting is, the smaller lakes that feed into the bigger lake is we're trying to, what can we do to help with that?
Dredging to
Yeah, can I address this for a second? This is actually, we spent a lot of time on, we have a long ways to go. The conclusion we got to is that spending all this money on dredging at the end is cleaning up a mess. So what if you reinvested and came up with a plan to slow down erosion in the original plan that all these small lakes were for, right? They were never intended to be big fisheries. They were holding ponds for water, right? But you've got erosion above them and you've got them below them. Until we tackle that project and fund it, and Linda's on top of this, it's a long plan, you'll always have to clean up the mess later. And the general feeling is we've got to find a way to get better at it, even if we slow it down, because otherwise we're kind of wasting money. We're just cleaning up a mess after the mess has already been created. So if you haven't been a part of that, a lot of conversation and thought gone into it, but also a sizable price tag. I think we've got the expertise inside the valley with Linda and her team, but again, it's a big line item, and where does that fit? So I just didn't want you to think that we're ignoring fixing a problem that's been a problem.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just interesting that we're spending some money in fish surveys in Crystal Lake, when Crystal Lake, what you just said, is, is used as a place to sort of collect silt before it comes into the big lake.
Yep.
Well, actually, not in the case of Crystal Lake, but a lot of the other ones are. Crystal doesn't feed it.
Which is Crystal. I'm sorry.
Crystal's the one that's over on the other side of Lakeview.
Yeah, it's on Green Street. Yeah. Last question.
Yeah, like quick.
Slight change in topic here. You're talking about these flotation devices.
Okay, let's don't go there. Okay, we've got time crunch. We're way behind.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of time to address more questions. Thank you, Ted.
Yeah. You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything. Who's up there? Amy. Who's up there? She knows she's up.
She knows she's up. Go get him, kiddo.
Come on, get 'em.
3 minutes, Amy.
I will be quick. All right, Rich, let's see if we're on the same page. Oh, we are. Okay, we got the pool liner. That was installed in the fall. I will say the maintenance guys have been great. They put the cover on it over the winter. They're working on it now. It's going to be full and to open up the 27th. Nora, is that our full opening day? I do want to go ahead, next slide, Rich. Yep, this one. We have family pool nights, and Nora, our pool manager, if you'll stand up real quick. There's Nora. She does the live. She's got all kinds of fun stuff planned for these family pool nights, and we'll just put that out as it comes closer to date. We're talking like maybe a pension, things like that. And this would go 8 to 10. Am I correct, Nora, on the family pool night, 8 to 10? Now, on the July 22nd family pool night will actually be our annual pool for the residents. We'll have free hot dogs, chips, entertainment. Last year we painted the kids' fingernails and face painting, and we had diving entertainment. Everybody come. It was a great time. Doug, you came. Got a hot dog, right?
Yep. Yes, I did.
So next slide, please, Rich. trying to hurry up. Oh, hold on. Before we move on from,
All
You didn't break that.
before we move on from the pool, I would like to put out that we will have swim lessons starting June 5th, and it will run through the 9th. It will start at 10 a.m. and is $45, which is a great deal. We're going to do this at the beginning of the season and not wait until July. Makes sense, right? Let's get these kiddos in there and get them on how to swim. Okay, now we can move on. Oh, and so this also the pool. We are going to move the fence back here. Here's the concession stand here. The fence will divide here. So if you're out playing tennis, pickleball, basketball, or just in the neighborhood and drive by, you can come up to the snack shack and get a hot dog, whatever's in the snack shack. So you don't have to walk through, have your ID, anything like that. Super good idea. How you like that, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that works out. We're thinking about, right, Nora, like maybe having a picnic table here or somewhere around here, right, Nora? We're working on that. And all that money goes back to the swim team. They run the snack shack, and then that money goes back to them. Okay, this is our Nature Trails Task Force, John Getzendanner. He has done, look at this, he's done a great job on this. So May 20th, he's going to have a scavenger hunt for the kids. I know he sent an email out to you, Rich. He said 9, but I believe it's 10. That might have been a typo. For the kids to go out and they'll find these rocks. This gal, she sang Frozen, I believe. She's an artist. There's more info out on her. I'm trying to hurry. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. When I go into this, I have to thank a lot of people. I have to thank John, Jim Leitner, this whole area here, the 77 acres, Chris Siebert and his soccer, his wife Alicia that does a concession stand. We have Jim Leitner. We have Mike McDonald. Hold on. I wrote it down. I don't want to forget anybody. Let's see. Oh, Linda Hartman and her crew, they planted a bunch of trees, and along by Melody Lake also. A ton of people helped with the bridge. We have a lot of people that just helped with all the trails. I don't want to forget anybody. If I do, I apologize. I want to thank everyone for that. And I also, the QR codes, Rich and Jeff Dickman worked really hard to get all of this out. Dave also, we got the master board. It's just awesome. And if you haven't been out there, go out there. If you haven't been out there and you want an easy walk, I would suggest, let's see, what do you think, honey? Goldfinch? This one right here. That's a good one. On a lazy day. Bluebird? Yeah, that's a rough one. If anybody, that's a rough one. But go out, try them. They're great. Okay, moving on. State line cleanup, awesome. We had 2 of these trucks full of litter off a state line, which shouldn't happen, but it does. So you go out there and you clean it up. You say, somebody said, well, why don't they have the inmate? I don't know, but we're not going to leave it. We're going to go pick it up. So that being said, I would like to thank, I keep pressing this. I think I messed something up. It's flashing. I would like to thank Linda Chastain, Julie Schaefer, Teresa Elliott, Corey Johnson, Elliot Johnson, Avery, Dominic, and Giovanni Branham. Those are the people that live here in the valley that came, and it was so appreciated. Brett Wilson, Dave Westman, Dearborn County Sheriff Department, Bright Fire, EMS Department, which everybody came out. I don't know what we would have done without them. Sugar Ridge Golf Course, the Sugar Ridge residents, and of course the Dearborn County Litter Coalition.
Yep.
So, is that all my slides? Okay. That being said, I would like to thank our maintenance crew. They do everything for us. I mean, when I say everything, I mean everything. We had an issue on the playground. They go out, they fix it. We need mulch. They go out, they fix it. The pool, they do it. They do everything. I don't think everybody understands what they do. So these guys rock. This community would not be what they are. And my office people, love them. I don't think everybody understands. Poor Alicia. I mean, the stuff I sent her, thank you so much for all you do. Brenda, Tina, Ray, we have a great group of people here, and all of our volunteers. Thank you so much. And it makes what I do easy. And I just always call everybody saying, hey, what do I do? You know, help me out. So that's it for me, I think.
Okay, I need 5 seconds. So you know in the award show and they have a little stage and they give you what's coming next so you don't forget and shut it off. That's Amy. She's on a stage and what she just said, don't leave because the Dorfland Award's coming up soon.
Oh.
Please don't leave. I know it's been a long night. It's not on the agenda, but you will miss it. You'll like really miss it if you miss that. So please stay. If you need more drink tickets, I don't know if that helps. But drink tickets? No. Is the bar closed? All right. Thank you, Amy. Wonderful. It's awesome to hear all the thanks. Yep. Okay. Who's next? Mark Smith. Go ahead, Mark, quickly.
I'm going at it quickly. I'm the fun guy. I don't have stats. I don't have any of that stuff to go over. Basically, I work with Civic Club, and we do the fun things around here that make it pleasurable to live in this area. You know, everything that's been set up to this point has been funding and statistics and all of that stuff, which is all extremely important. But we all live here also to have some fun and enjoy our family life together. I guess we go ahead with the slides. I just found out I was doing this 2 days ago, so sorry, guys. We had a lot of new accomplishments. We had some big shoes to fill with prior years of Civic Club, and I'm trying my best to fill them. Nowhere near there, but I'm trying. Anybody show up to this past year? Anybody? Okay, a couple of you. Thank you. What we tried to do with this is we've got such a beautiful community, and it was a celebration of the 50th anniversary here, and it couldn't have happened without the 50th committee. But instead of everybody grabbing their family, getting their winter coats on, going down to Lawrenceburg or downtown, we've got a beautiful tree right out here. We've got all the festivities right here. So we're going to continue that and move on with that each year and grow upon. I've got a special list started in my Amazon cart. I'm working on it. But family beach nights, I'd like to increase the attendance there. Brian Bays is one of our members, and he really does a fantastic job there. He sometimes shows up with hot dogs, and it's a lot of kid-friendly music and everything for the families. And I don't know if people just don't know what's going on, but forget like firing up your grill. Just go down to the beach, grab the kids, grab the family, and just come on down and enjoy some music. We'll go ahead and go to the next. Okay, the adult Easter egg hunt. I was in Gatlinburg, so I missed out on this one. But it was our first time doing this. It was a great turnout for that. I guess we can go to the next one. Oh, I've been to all of those. Hooday. So those were very successful. A lot of them are impromptu because if you're a member of the Civic Club page on Facebook or whatever, I apologize. That's kind of our main way of communicating. But as we all know, it depends on if we win or not, if we're going to have a tailgating event going into playoffs. So it's kind of a fluid situation, but these are always very fun. I want to talk to you guys about this after the meeting. We want to start doing community service activities, and the 14-year-old, I think, would be right up that alley to reach out to their family and try to be of some service.
Awesome.
To that family. But we want to reach out to some of the families that, maybe struggling with lawn work or whatever, just kind of be a helping hand instead of just a party,
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
And the last thing, I think that's the last slide, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, the only other thing I would add, and it'll just take 10 seconds, none of this happens without funding, and I know people get upset about that. We have one event every year that funds 12 months worth of activities, and that's the luau. We're trying to build upon that, but we're trying our best to work on that. But anyway, thank you all for having me.
Take your time, Bonnie.
Thank you. Bonnie Stark, slot 2800, and I'm the chair for safety, security, and elections. As usual, our committee has been involved in many diverse topics necessary to the safety and security of our community. This past year, we have listened, reviewed, and worked on many subjects. The following are the most important ones. The separation of the elections subcommittee into a designated panel to help alleviate some of the workload for SS&E for our committee. The Halloween congestion danger at the pool area and a solution for this. We voted unanimously to thoroughly investigate and, if applicable, to promote the police system called FLOC, which most of our neighboring communities are already committed to and using. We sponsored a Zoom presentation to the board of directors, committee chairs, and various POA personnel. This system, if we can get it implemented, would make us a virtual gated community. We worked on speeding and the pedestrian right-of-way. Unnecessary stop signs and adding child safety signs were considered and implemented. Animal and dog rules were addressed. Golf cart reviews were conducted. We worked on the election online forms, and the committee investigated previous board policies that were lost in an update years ago. Our primary goals for completion are the election panel structure and separation, the Halloween danger, and for all of you who aren't aware of it, the children are dropped off at our pool and the neighbors gather and party in the pool parking lot, distribute candy, but the kids are running crazy and it's a real danger with the cars and the kids and everything going on. So we gotta get a handle on that. The flock camera system is something else that we are pursuing, and whatever else comes our way, because there's a lot. Thank you very much. Oh, you forgot about that. I'm a middle child and I'm used to that, so. I'll be very, very quick. Thank you, Tristan, for joining me. I told Rich we need one slide, it said we create joy and we'll take the rest from here. I feel like that's what we do. We had a very successful 2022 and continue to create joy in our community for the children we serve. For clarity, we are fully self-funded
And we do not rely on the HOA for funding. They do for the wristband, those small purchases, those fund the events all year long. We are proud to continue the support of critical local organizations with the Christmas Toy Drive for the Closet of Promises and the Dearborn County Family Services. That started during COVID, and we will happily continue that tradition. The annual hayride was a success. It's a huge event, but we are looking to seek efficiencies in 2023 that will make the event run a little smoother and be easier for us all. It's a huge event for just 6 of us. We are always seeking out more drivers and trailers for the event. Interestingly enough, we received some new feedback this year that we should close our events to the community only. However, we're just a bunch of moms, guys. We are not the gatekeepers of our community. And if the board wants us to provide security for our events, then please do so. We are just here to serve kids and nothing less and nothing more. Thank you to Shirley. Where's Shirley? Oh, she's right there.
She's here.
She's our ally at all of our events. We don't have time to take pictures. Shirley takes the most amazing pictures, and when we look back after the events are over, we see what a success they were. Shirley, you're such a wonderful friend, John. Continue to create joy in our community and make Hidden Valley the ideal place to live and raise our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll make this real fast. I'm Doug Gabbard. I'm on board. I also run the photography club. We've got 120 members on Facebook. We've got 35 on active email list. We do photo trips. We do education, teach you how to use your camera. We cover events, I'm with Shirley every once in a while. So hit the next slide for me. I'm the author of The Where in Hidden Valley, so give me photos if you got something interesting you want to share. We've been on the cover of the Hidden Valley phone book, this magazine. I've been on the cover, or not me, the club has. I've got photos for them on the cover. And the Beacon just now reached out to us to help provide photos. So we meet, when do we meet? First Monday of the month, and we're switching that. We're going on a trip every other month. Trip might be going to Casey's. We went to Grant's property for it to have a pond and some trails. So that's who we are. Come see us.
Okay, we're almost there, folks. We got a little award, and we have a little send off for Pat. And there may be questions, but we're going to adjourn at that point. If you have questions, please stay. We'll be glad to answer them. The good news is that we're getting so much done with all your help. The bad news, it takes 2 hours to talk about it. It's not just kidding. No, the accomplishments are great. Okay, so for those of you that have been around a while in the Valley, those that are new, we as a board have the Dorf Lane Award that we award every year. And it's for outstanding service and community dedication. It's awarded annually to the HVL property owner whose leadership, creativity, and a lot of big words here, enhancement of community preeminence has resulted in the year's most significant contribution to the community. If you are a past Dorfland Award winner, we never forget you. Your work still, in a lot of cases, continues to go on. Please stand up if you've been awarded in the past. Bob's standing up in the bathroom.
Okay. Everybody clap when it comes.
Yeah, seriously, do that. You're like, what are you guys doing? Okay. Something we want to do a little bit differently. The Dorfland Award's amazing, but there's so many people we want to recognize. We got to find more ways to recognize folks. There's been a bunch of ideas that came up at executive meeting tonight. But to kind of get that started, before I announce this year's winner, I want to mention the incredible nominees that we talked about as a board at length. We've probably had more nominees in board depth and amazing that you could have given it to anybody. So let me hit some highlights. Johnny Getzendan has been highlighted for his trail leadership and that whole team with parks. John and his family, if you don't know, have been a long, productive history in volunteerism in HVL. So it's not a surprise, but we thank him, and he was nominated. Those of you that don't know Kathy Tandy, she works 18 hours, 7 days a week, except when she's on vacation. She's the one responsible for taking in all the lost dogs with other pet issues. She takes them into her house. They find owners. She works with the security team. A lot of people don't know what she does, but I would put her hours spent in the Valley up against anybody. So some of these people we will start recognizing in the Echo, so we don't do this once a year.
Also, to let you know that Pat Hawkins was talked about. I'm not sure why, but she's not eligible, so she's gonna have to sit around and hang around.
I'll explain it later. It's okay. It's all good.
No, Pat's not eligible, but obviously we will have time in the future to recognize her many contributions with 10 years of stewardship in this community. Okay, so let's talk about this year's winner. Leadership comes in a lot of ways. Creativity comes in a lot of ways. Impact on the community comes in a lot of ways. Consistency matters. You can take a look at the top, and the best way to explain this individual before we announce it is just look at the pictures. It represents where she's at, what she's a part of, how she brings joy to all of us. And these are her comments. Go back, Rich, please. What a great day to walk on the dam at HVL Marina. Love seeing some boaters out. That's real stuff. She's like that every single day. Next picture. Some see weeds, some see wishes. I choose wishes. If you don't know her, meet her tonight. She comes to you every day with that attitude. The only one that gets bad from her, I think, is her husband. He will be here tonight too. You went too fast, Reg. Go back. We just screwed this up. Shirley, go to the bathroom. No, I'm just teasing. So I want to talk a little bit about her before she comes up with her husband. Leadership, creativity, enhancement of the community, and the excellent was what the award was about. She leads by example with her ongoing engagement across most all events in the HVL. Some may say, well, she's just there to have fun. Well, that too, but she's bringing fun to the rest of us, and she captures all the work that all you guys do throughout the year, and we can share it in so many communication that Rich is a part of. I remember a day, Rich, when we talked about, do you have any idea who Shirley Hicks is? Have you ever seen her pictures? He's like, I'm dying for him. So, and the rest is kind of history. Her creativity through photography captures HVL, why we want to live here and why we enjoy living here. And it's magical here. What I enjoy, like we have so many things we work on. If we didn't add one more thing to the community and just enjoyed the natural beauty and got out and took it all in like Shirley does, we probably would all be happier without spending another dime except a good iPhone to take the pictures. In terms of excellence, every community needs at least one Shirley. I know we've got more than that, but her enthusiasm is contagious. So let me invite up Shirley, her husband Don, to the podium. And please join me in congratulations, Shirley.
Yeah. Hey, I just love living in the community. Get out and take a walk, enjoy nature. There's so many pretty things to see here. You know, just get out and take a walk and enjoy the little things. The community has a lot to offer, whether it be the beach. I love the pools. So I just love to take pictures. So
And she is on the photography club. So if you want to meet her more, learn how she does this.
So it's just fun. It gets me away. It's my away me time. Just walk and enjoy it. So get out for thank you.
Like Bob was awarded last year. He mentioned Don for his work in the community and substantial work with Bob. So there's kind of a pattern here of family working hard and enjoying life. Real quickly, Pat will have her day in the sun in a big way. I don't know when. Have no idea. But we're going to take a couple minutes as a board to just share a couple comments. I don't have anything written down, but here's what I'm going to share. I lost my mom 10 years ago plus, and she was my best friend. The closest thing I have to my mom in this world today is Pat Hawkins. I don't really need to talk about her, but she is a pro. She's a gem. She's done so much for this community. We will not let her get away from us. She's gonna finish the damn bylaws. If she could get some cooperation from our attorney, right, Pat? But thank you for everything. We know you're not going away. Nobody in here, unless you spend 10 years on the board, understands the volume of work and the issues with Grace that she's dealt with. Definitely.
I didn't get to really work with Pat on the board until I came back to Valley, because actually I left. I was the president of the board, and then what was it, maybe 6 months later, you were on about something like that. But then you became president not long after that. So you've been there, been there a long time. But even though I was gone for 8 years out of Valley, I was still on the listserv. Yeah, I never stayed on it. So I've heard so much, that you and your board members throughout the years have done. And if you got a question, anything, in the Valley here, and if you got any committee questions, how things happened in the past, or, what do you think of that? She's got an incredible history. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Judge.
Not counting the election, I'm the newest board member. Pat swindled me into the role.
Sorry.
I take thanks.
Okay.
But Pat has been my mentor, and I've shared this with Pat in the past. I've been at Microsoft for 19 years. I've been through a lot of different managers, and I would have loved to have her in my path as a manager. All the people that worked for her at P&G probably miss her and wish she was back. She's an awesome person. She listens like you wouldn't believe. Don't ask Dan that.
That's my husband.
But she is a wonderful person, and I will definitely miss you, but I will rely on you for mentorship going forward.
Thank you, Doug.
I just want to take a minute to thank Pat for her leadership over the 10 years. And also to mention the reason I'm on the board mostly is because of Pat's mentorship. I come up through the committees and never thought about being on the board, but with her coaxing, here I am. And I'm going to blame you, Pat, if it don't work out.
Before I leave tonight, I want to thank this board and past boards and all the employees and all the residents for the many kindnesses that you have shown me over the years. It has been a privilege to serve you. It has been a pleasure most days. There were some bad days here and there, but I try to put them into perspective. I have been on the board 10 years, but I only stood for election one time. And I want to thank all those people who voted for me. I thank all those who didn't. And I hope that in the 10 years that I have served you well and that I leave with wonderful memories. You haven't seen the back of me. And I welcome Bob Starks, who will be taking my seat. I know it will be in very good hands. And I congratulate Jeff. And I will see you at a future board meeting. I'll be sitting out there, and I'll be stirring the pot and asking questions. Go fly.
Breaking big, Jeremy, before we all cry.
I'll vote to adjourn.
Second? Favor? Oh. So anybody that wants to stay for questions, please do. We'll reconvene in a couple minutes for those that are leaving, but we're happy to answer any questions you may have left.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
17 years in Valley, Eric's out with when I am concerned.